You're on.
Good morning. The question I want to ask you today is, do you think that anything else besides AA works with alcoholics? I'm here to tell you that most of the alcoholics, or nearly all of them in my family, have, they have resisted AA, didn't like it. Now, there's been one or two that had some success with it and could attend for a while, but they'd fall off. And so my theory was always that there had to be other backup ways, for people to try with alcoholics, because there's some people that are just highly resistant to AA. And I think that those people are usually have some kind of antipathy or resistance to anything smacking of a fundamentalist or religion, fundamentalist kind of religion. They just can't accept all those premises and, and get along with them. And I know I have a friend in AA, and she, every time she sees evidence of me having this continued relationship with an alcoholic, coming and talking to him and making these videos with him and so on, she's just incensed. But I find her judgmental attitude kind of just, I just can't really go along with it, because he's a lot better company than she would be, with this judgmental attitude that she knows best, and don't disagree with her. And I have been resistant to this kind of thing myself, so I can't. And although I have to say that even though he's an alcoholic, he still is able to think. He was basically a very smart person, so this hasn't all left him. And so I can come down here, and he records all kinds of programs for me to watch, which I find interesting. And, in a lot of different ways. See, I can discuss issues with him that, say, I couldn't discuss with her. So I'd say that he was raised in a tightly knit church community that he apparently got very allergic to. So anything that reminds him of that, he's just not going to go. He's just not going to accept it. Yes, I'm discussing you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
Maybe you'd like to say what your objection to AA is and why you have never been able to attend it. You said you attended it once when you were forced in order to have food to eat. Isn't that right?
Well, I was in San Diego.
In San Diego, you had a brief time that you were required to go to AA?
Well, it was only a half a block away.
Uh-huh.
And usually what would happen is that we'd go in and the guy would sign the paper and then you'd leave.
And you'd leave? Oh.
Yeah, so you didn't have to listen to all of the
nutcases. Don't like to listen to all of that stuff. Why they drank, wasn't that it? Why they drank?
I don't know what it was. I really don't. It was just like, it's just like group therapy at the insane asylum. And fortunately, they haven't put me away yet, folks. I'm kind of looking forward to it any day now.
Well, but so he has been unsuccessful with AA, but he's still drinking at his age, which is that, that's probably evidence of failure of society to deal with this alcoholic. I have not been able to...
No, it's failure for me to deal with the society.
Failure with the society.
That's right.
Yes, well...
Listen, I'm sorry I was born with an overeducated, intelligent mind, but I try to dumb down as much as possible over the years. And I find that heavy drinking keeps me down to about what the rest of you non-drinkers are. It's about the only way you can put up with it. It's like Jackie Gleason said when they asked him one time, he said, Jackie, how come you drink so much? He said, well, it takes the warts off of people. Takes the warts off of people.
See now,
and he's a pretty successful guy when you think about it.
See, he's forthcoming with all of the reasons why he's superior and has to drink in order to stand this world. I didn't think he'd come right out with it, but here he is out with it. Well, I maintain that I'm superior too, but I don't require, I have a superior mind. He might not think it as good as his, but I think it is. And
I'm not making any judgment.
And so I was always a reader, and I was always top in my class. I was kind of in his category in school all the time. Considered one of the smartest kids in the class everywhere I went. So but I didn't get this, I didn't happen to pick up drinking on the way, but I did pick up eating. So that's been my big problem. But I have two sons who are struggling with alcohol, you know, because, well, one doesn't drink. He binges once in a while, but when he binges, sometimes, you know, disaster happens, which happened the last time, and a fire broke out in his trailer, which you don't really know what happened, but I do believe that it would not have burned down if he hadn't been drinking. He was too impaired to keep track of, you know, whatever danger there was developing in the trailer. And so now, without any belongings, and alcohol was involved, so he's thinking about alcoholism. And then my other son has been a weekend drinker for years. He's been in construction. He'd go with his friends to the bar, and I was always worried about him. I always thought he was developing a pretty bad case of alcoholism, and he's nearly, he's about 57 now, and he's had a heart attack, which I would say was caused because he threw away his high blood pressure pills.
Does he smoke cigarettes?
Yes, and he smoked as well as drank. And
bad combination.
Yeah, and so now he's had to quit smoking, and
we quit smoking?
Yeah, well, he might still chew, but he's not smoking, and he wanted to quit chewing too, but he's finding it very hard. But anyway, he's been, I think he's been having some success lately with his control of his drinking, which I just thought, oh, because anytime a person gets very drunk, they're going to end up driving, they're going to end up somewhere drunk, and they're not going to act responsibly. And so there's always the risk that someone who drinks to the point of getting very drunk, they're going to have a disaster of some sort during this period of time. So I've just been very worried about him, and
that's why I don't keep any fire in my apartments.
No, he doesn't smoke, but my last companion was a drinker as well as a smoker, and when he was drinking, oh my good hell, he was about to start a fire and burn himself up.
What are we talking about?
Pierre, but my dad used to...
You should see her furniture, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. And if you think the furniture is bad, look at the rugs on the floor. What'd this guy do? Just drop the cigarettes?
Yeah. Well, he would just go to sleep and they'd fall down and start burning. And this is what happens when you get older, is starting fires is a very big hazard, especially when you're drunk. And...
well, if you start them when you're not drunk, you're usually a pyromaniac or something like that. But, hey, you should see, I burnt her up.
But my dad, he would start fires all the time. The older he got, the worse he got.
Did he smoke?
And yeah, smoked. But if he ever drank, God help us. I mean, it was like nobody was even home up here. And he would still be trying to smoke. I remember one time when he got very drunk.
The lights were on, but
so
nobody
drunk
was home.
that he thought the match was the cigarette. And
I've done that
the
before.
cigarette was the match. And he would sit there, strike the cigarette, strike it, and it would break. And he would look at it like, oh, what happened? Give me another. And so...
When I was smoking,
and I thought to myself,
when I was 20 years old.
Word, what alcohol does to the brain, it's
well, no,
just...
wait a minute. You don't have to be drunk to make that mistake.
Oh.
I mean, I remember one time when they used to have filtered cigarettes. They still have, I imagine. Fried cigarette, you know, tap, tap, tap. Stuck it in my mouth and lightened it up. Oh, God, that's terrible. I lit the friggin' filter. Well, it was dark outside.
Oh, well.
It was dark. It's my only excuse. It was dark.
My dad just kept on trying to strike the cigarette and light the match. On and on until he finally gave up. I mean, he was so drunk that he could never get it straight in his mind. Now, that's very
well, I tell you one thing, it's a good thing he wasn't chewing.
A parent who is normally very good at what he does, and my dad was like my son. He was an expert in almost anything, any work on a ranch. He could train horses. He could
train cowboys,
and he was just good at it, and good manager, good at managing money and all kinds of things. Now he's extremely good at managing his money. He always has whatever he wants, and he always has money. Now, this is unusual for an alcoholic to be the go-to guy. If you really, really need money, because he'll have it, but nobody else will.
No more. I learned my lesson last year.
Yeah, some people owe him big time.
Yes, and I'll never get it.
But anyway, I think you always have to be thinking about what else works. AA doesn't always work. Any system has got elements in it that don't work for some people.
For people who are leaning toward organized religion.
Yeah, he thinks that.
Or people who like to spend years in psychotherapy, you know.
Oh yeah.
But another thing, you have to have money for that, or at least, you know, Medicare, Medicaid.
Yeah, so AA is a cheap.
Good insurance.
A cheap substitution.
You don't need to have insurance to go AA. But the thing I liked about it was, the psychiatrist said, well, you're doing real well. I think probably if you show up 2 times a week for the next 2 years, you're going to be well.
Oh.
And the guy says, well, I don't have any insurance. He says, congratulations, you're cured.
Oh.
So that's about as much faith as I have in that.
Well, anyway, with my sons, I'm hoping for more success. To me, he is just a hardened case, a very hardened case. He was hardened case when I met him, and I'm still trying all the methods that I try with my sons and my dad. We were able to get sobered up for the most part. He'd only go on a binge maybe once or twice a year, but it would be a very bad binge, and during the last binge he went on, he crossed the yellow line, caused a wreck, and he didn't kill the people, which was very fortunate. One broke his leg. Now that's just what can happen with a drunk on a big binge, even if he doesn't go on one all the rest of the year. So it's a problem of, you know, how to cure alcoholism. And in my own case, I think that just common sense, using your brain to see what works, always using your brain. I think in AA, sometimes you just rely on the formula, and like my friend, she doesn't even question that her behavior, being nasty to me, is you know, judgmental, is not really good. It's not a good recommendation for AA.
Time's up.
It's kind of suggests the limitation of AA. When people get to thinking that just because they're in AA and they do this, that it's a perfect system to cure alcoholism. There's no perfect system to cure alcoholism. And, you know, I just happen to think that you've got to use brain, especially with a guy like him.
But time is
a
up.
guy like him is a challenge, a big challenge, because he's smart. He's going to reject authoritarianism. He's not going to go to AA, and so what are you going to do? So this will give you something to think about, because both of my sons are now, I think, in an encouraging stage, and neither one of them are attending AA at the moment. And it's not that my one son is averse to AA, and he's gone there quite a lot, but the other one would rather go to church, if he's going to go to church, than he would go to AA. He just will not go to AA. Okay? So, are there any other systems?
Can I make a last point on this thing?